Right, here we go. Let's get into lobby then. I think Gecko's got it open. Alright, Blue Racer, Happy New Year to you as well, mate. I see you've got a good position in the standings at the moment, in 4th place. Not far behind Gecko, so hopefully you can have a good final race here. Looks like we've got a few in the lobby already. Let's see who's out practicing. Let's see how Osty's going on his new PS5, so hopefully Os won't have any lagging backwards issues that he's unfortunately suffered from. Obviously in this one I believe we've got a longer qualifying than usual, obviously due to the longer track, and then we do still have the formation lap as well. So it'll be a 16 lap race overall, with the one formation lap, so it'll display as 17 laps when the race starts. Happy New Year to you as well, Bad Dog. Yeah, big one for Ost. He's got nothing going on, no excuses now that he's got that nice new shiny PS5. No blaming any issues on the backwards lag. But it'll see how that BRZ goes, BRZ, because it seems to be really good on tyre wear, but a couple of times it has lacked pace, especially in the last round. It really lacked any pace, as Blue Racer will probably tell you. But in this race we have no mandatory tyres, so all tyres are available, but none of them are mandatory. So that might possibly play into the advantage of the BRZ drivers, because they will be able to maybe use the softer compound than other drivers. But I believe people might just try soft, but that may not be the fastest. It'll be interesting to see if anyone tries mediums maybe, but I personally don't think anyone will use the hards, but maybe they will. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But without doing any testing, if I had to guess, I would say most are probably going to attempt to use the softs as much as they can. but I don't know how bad the tyre wear will be. So that's why I said them BRZs might have the advantage, because it might be easier for them to just use softs. Other cars might want to maybe do a stint on mediums to pull a stint out a bit longer maybe. Obviously I'm presuming everybody will be out practicing on the softs, even if they are planning to use other tyres during the race. It's hard to know now what laps everybody will be doing, because most have probably not actually done a lap yet. Blue Racer obviously definitely has, but he might be the only one to have actually completed a lap. Gecko looks like he's just started a lap. Hey Ray, how you doing? Evening, Baz. Happy New Year to you as well, mate. New laptop and having issues with YouTube chat. Can't be a particularly great laptop, Baz, or maybe you got some setting wrong. Hopefully that'll all be sorted and everything will be alright for you. So for those that haven't heard yet, this slightly longer qualifying than usual, obviously due to it being a longer track. 19 minutes qualifying time instead of the usual 15, and a 16 lap race, and we still have the one formation lap, so it'll show 17 laps on the lap counter. The first lap is just a formation lap, a pace lap, a sighter lap, whatever you want to call it, a warm-up lap. So then the leader will dictate the start of the race with a manual rolling start, same as usual. and Gecko goes top, so first realistic time by anyone by the looks of it. And I imagine this is what the qualifying is going to be, people across the line and be straight back in the pits to try and get another lap in. Yeah, it's not good news that, Baz. Happy New Year to you as well, Ray. Hopefully there's not too much lag. It looks like Rabbit might be jumping around a little bit there, but it has looked mostly stable so far. I believe Jack is down to race DTR, but he's not in the lobby yet. I can just have a quick look. Yeah, Jack has confirmed that he will be racing, so I'm presuming it's just he's not got into the lobby yet. Yes, Ray, unfortunately, after last week's race with the incident and then he quit out, he's really shook up the standings, because it looked like Jack was obviously right in there to go for the win in the championship in this race, but that DNF has dropped him all the way down to 7th. We currently have Rush Racing in 1st, with Distinct in 2nd, coming 3rd in every race so far, so maybe that's one. Can he get another 3rd place? And then we have Gecko currently in 3rd, but very close behind is Blue Racer, and then not too far behind are Wabbit and King Ears, separated by 1 point, and then Jack is a couple of points behind those two, and then Ost is level on points with Jack as well, so could be a good fight in that top 10 places to see who can secure the top 10 finishes. Yeah, DTR, that's what I said, obviously the BRZ has the really good tyre wear, and that has helped in some of the races, but at times it's really lacked in a couple of other areas, so it'll be interesting to see here with the long straights how it'll get on, whether they'll struggle or whether they'll be able to make up for that struggle with maybe using soft tyres instead of mediums, or slightly different strategies, because for those that don't know, this week there is no mandatory tyres, so all 3 compounds are available but none of them have to be used, so it's up to the drivers to decide what strategies they want to go on. They've got no restrictions. If they just want to run softs, they can. If they just want to run hards, they can, and anything in between, so it'll be interesting to see. I would guess most will just go for the softs, because that's generally on this game the better way, but be interesting to see. Oh, Ray saying she doesn't think anyone will use softs. So the softs going off too quick then, are they? And King Gears is practicing them, Ray? Because I do know, obviously, with it being a long track, it depends how many laps you can get in. But it could still be a big difference even on mediums. Then BRZs might get an extra lap in, might be able to do a pit stop less. It'll be interesting to see. We've had a few different strategies in the different races so far. The tyre wear settings are ×4 and the fuel is ×1. So you can no stop on the fuel, can you, Ray? Yeah, so that might be the only difference. If that's the case, then I imagine mediums will be for most, and possibly, if that's the case, maybe the BRZs will be able to use the softs, but it'd be interesting to see if any try it. Yeah, softs obviously will not be in great condition by the end, but those that have practiced will obviously know better what the tyres can handle and what the fuel can handle. If the fuel is going all the way to the end, then a lot are probably obviously going to want to not use softs because they're going to want to avoid extra pit stops. But obviously I was thinking if the fuel was only lasting 4 to 5 laps, then possibly people would be using the softs. ×4, Baz, and only ×1 for the fuel. But obviously this can be a fuel heavy track on some cars because of being flat out for so long. I'm presuming in lap time though the hards are probably quite a bit off. I know there's a lot of straights, but that last section through the Porsche curves and stuff, the hard tyres are really going to struggle with understeer, so be interesting to see if anyone will, will want to go all the way to the end with hards, because mediums they might gain that 30 seconds pit loss back easy anyway, so and as we've seen in the past, Rush Racing likes to be on the softer tyres and push, so if some do go for the hards, he may go for the mediums and do a pit stop and maybe a second set of mediums or a set of softs or something. But if the fuel does last all the way to the end, then I think it'll be very interesting, because I think that might mean there's quite a few different strategies that might get tried. And we've been lucky so far in this series that people have jumped to different strategies. They've not all just stuck to the same strategy as each other. Happy New Year, Ginger. Hey Jack, good luck tonight. Hopefully you can make up for not the greatest one in the last round. Oh, you're expecting the same though. Struggle in the race but good in quali. Hopefully you can push through it. Do you drop around then, do you, Jack, in this series? I thought with it just being the short series that all 4 rounds would count, but are we still dropping around? I thought you'd, with that DNF last week, that that'd put you out the championship. But if there's a dropped round, then yes, you need a second place will put you level on points with Rush Racing as long as he doesn't win, and the first place will obviously give you the championship, like you said. That'll make it a bit more interesting, because Arnage Cooper was very fast last time out, so if he's taking part this week, then obviously as long as results for other people go the right way, he could stand a chance of jumping right up there as well. So I don't think Jack will be using softs at all by the sounds of it, other than in quali then. Which is the problem he had in the last race. The tyre wear, that Ford was a lightning bolt, especially down the straights, but the tyre wear was poor on it, so, and when the tyres drop off it looks a real handful, that car. You alright, Nick? For those that's only just joined and don't know yet, this round there is no mandatory tyre, so but all 3 compounds are available to the drivers. I believe Gecko might be checking to see who's in, how many people have turned up for lobby 2, because the lobbies may be combined together to obviously get a bigger field, because obviously with the new year and everything, a few people unfortunately are not able to make this race. Let's see how Rush Racing does at the final part of the track. Same car as Gecko. Can he beat the time Gecko put in his practice lap? He's up by quite a bit. Yeah, so this is 2 laps of a fast lap and an out lap, and the tyre wear's not overly dreadful by the looks of it. There's only a little bit gone off the tyres, but again the outlapping might have been looking after them a bit more to obviously get a good fast lap in, so it won't be a true representation of tyre wear. But obviously there is 16 race laps in this race and 1 formation lap. Yeah, and King Gear's tyre wear there's not as bad as it could be. Is quali set to less tyre wear, is it? Is that just because of it being a longer track to allow people to get the lap in, Jack? And a penalty for Kit. I thought he might get a penalty there. It looked like he cut over a little bit. Yeah, Blue Racer, I didn't know there was a dropped round, so obviously I was just going off normal points. If you finished ahead of Gecko in the race, you would... No, but if you finish ahead of Gecko, as long as you finish 4th or higher, you'll be level on points with him, I believe. So, I know obviously you might think that's unlikely, but you never know what happens. We've seen in some of the other races, you know, obviously Jack ended up DNFing out of the last one, and Gecko in the last 2 has had incidents on lap 1 or 2, so, you know, it's not beyond doubt if things go your way. Obviously, with there being a drop round, it's much more awkward for me to work out who's in what fights with each other's in terms of league position. So from what I can work out with the drop round, Jack and Rush will be fighting out for top spot, and whoever misses out should still get second unless Jack has a disastrous race. Then Crimson is pretty much guaranteed 3rd, and as I said, can get second if things don't go well for Jack. And then I believe it's Gecko and Blue Racer in the and possibly Ryan if he has a really good race, but unlikely then in the fight for 4th. And then very close we have King Ears, Wabbit and Ost. So any of those 3 could then take what would be the fight for 6th place, I believe. So there are a few battles throughout the table. Yeah, it is close between you and Wabbit as well, yeah, to take the leader of the Subaru. Wabbit will have to outscore you in this one and have you score less than 33 points, I believe. Otherwise, you should be favourite to take that. Obviously, it's much harder to work out with this drop round, trying to go through who's on what points to figure out where they could possibly finish. Looks like Lobby 2 has got enough drivers, so we'll be a slightly smaller lobby than always, so hopefully we still get some good battles with the long straights. Be interesting to see if anyone tries to work together here to push themselves forward. King Gears hasn't done that bad, Baz. It's not done the greatest, but it's not done that bad. He can still, with a really good result, he can still get Gecko for what would be effectively 4th place in the championship. Unlikely for him to get score good enough to overtake Gecko though. But obviously, again, Blue Racer, Rabbit and Os, they're all still fairly close to each other, so it'll depend on how the race goes for each of them. Hopefully he just knows what strategy he's going to do this time out, but as he's just crashed off there in practice, that doesn't bode well. Actually, maybe we will still have the 2 lobbies joined together. Yep, as Gecko has just confirmed there for us. So we will have a few extra drivers in this lobby, which will make it a bit better having a fuller lobby. As I said, unfortunately with the day, a few people unable to attend this week. Yes, I've only just noticed that now you've said that. Blue Racer, Crimson not racing this week. Yeah, he has finished 3rd place in every round so far, which is why I said he's pretty much guaranteed 3rd place in the championship, unless something bad happens to Jack, then he could go up a place. But I don't believe. Maybe if Gecko wins, it'll be very close to whether Gecko can overtake him, but pretty much other than that, he's guaranteed a 3rd place. Is that to put him off, Baz, or to make him go faster? Jack's lacking confidence after the last round. I'm sure you'll be alright, Jack. I know that car, when its tyre wear's gone, looked a handful, but most of the time you've handled it well. Hopefully we can see another fantastic fight between Jack and Rush Racing that we've seen in especially Barcelona. Because as I said, I mean, if Jack wins, he guarantees the championship, and Rush wins the championship if Jack finishes below third or lower, and no matter where he finishes, or if he wins, then he will guarantee to win the championship as well. So here we go, it's the other guys just joining the lobby. Yeah, any practice helps, Blue Racer. Like you said, you know, you and Wabbit well in the fight for top Subaru, and Ost isn't a million miles behind you either as well, and then you're both still in the fight with Gecko as well, so there's a lot to play for in the championship, so any experience will help. Right, so I'm not sure how many laps people will be able to get in. We have 19 minutes of qualifying instead of 15. So let's see, has Blue Racer managed to be first out again? He has. He's making a habit of this, Blue Racer, being able to get out the pits first. As I said, 19 minutes of qualifying. Maybe people will do one lap after another, but I presume with the long track, most will do an out lap, one fast lap, and then they'll reset back to the pits to get a fresh set of tyres and do another out lap and fast lap. Did you, I think, about 4 laps? Yeah, it depends on whether they choose to do 2 laps in a row or not, as to how many they'll get. See, it looks like Ember seems to be the one that wants to get to the front of the pack to be first starting the lap. I imagine people might want to be closer at this track with slipstream, but also they'll want to concentrate on their own lap and not have any distractions or anyone that might crash in front of them and ruin their lap. Maybe Baz can give us any information on Ember. As Baz tends to know a lot of the Croatian drivers. It's a nice car, the Lambo, but it can be a real handful. Yeah, everyone's still fairly close together at the moment. They're looking to get round and they're jostling for position a little bit. As we see, Jack and Rush Racing are very close together for their qualifying lap. They're probably the two to watch out for, I imagine. They'll want to be battling it out for that pole position. So we're just coming round to the Porsche curves now then. Yeah, we've got one person right out on their own. Decided to come out the pits late, not have any distractions. Everybody else seems to be in this big group at the front, with a couple of the guys at the back of it getting a bit of a gap. This is where we'll see now if people decide to start creating gaps for themselves, or whether they're just going to go for it and try and use each other's slipstream. But we shall go on board here and see as Ember is the first one to cross the line to start a fast lap. And by looking at the map, it looks like everybody stayed fairly close together. So it could be a bit of slipstreaming going on, but if anyone makes a mistake, that could hinder them. As it looked like Ember got a bit deep into that first corner there. Obviously this is where you're going to want the good run onto the Mulsanne. And that may be a penalty. It's going to be very close. He might have just stayed in the limits there, and he did. Behind the seat, oh, there has been a gap created behind by Rush Racing. We come to the first of the two chicanes along the Mulsanne Straight. Again, using all that track. Are the guys behind gaining? It's hard to tell. Just coming to the second chicane now. Nice and clean through there. Maybe he was a little deep on the second part, so unable to get on the power as early as he probably would have liked there. Maybe a little bit too cautious into the Mulsanne corner there. But again, obviously a lot with this, there's so many long straights, you want to get these good exits out the corner, so you maybe sacrifice a little bit on the way in to get the good exit. Yeah, very deep there. That's not going to be good for the lap time there. Yeah, Jack and Rush have definitely caught up now, but Jack is now ahead of Rush on the track, so he must have passed him down the straight with the slipstream. So Jack should be on for the faster lap than Rush Racing this time round, but Rush Racing might do the same back to him after. Very neat round start of the Porsche curves there. Hard to tell if it's a slight bit of lag, but it looks like that Lambo really wants to slide out here. And again, just had to delay getting on the power slightly there. But it's not going to be the worst banker in the world, but a few mistakes definitely. Improvements can be made here on Ember's lap. As Jack goes pole, Jack is going to pull over. Is Rush Racing? Yeah. No, is Rush Racing carrying on? He looks like he is. So Jack's going to pull over for fresh tyres, but Rush Racing is going to go for the second lap. So time's come in, not a great time by Ost there, so maybe something happened to Ost on his lap there. But King Gears jumps up to 4th with his lap. And Rush Racing is purple at the moment. Oh, and not a great place to quit out by Ember there. That must have been distracting for Rush Racing, but luckily I don't think it's lost him any time. What King Gears did, Ray. I mean, he's put it on 4th at the moment, so if he can get a good qualifying, if he prefers the track on the card on fuel, then that's much better. Oh, but there's Rush Racing having to quit in as he gets a penalty there. Is everybody on outlaps? No. Kev Loro is still on a lap, but I'm surprised he hasn't come in for fresh tyres with having a penalty. But he has got his hazards on, so maybe he's paused it now, maybe that's what he's going to do. Kingy is on an outlap, so he's got fresh tyres. Jibril on an outlap. But Swoodson is still carrying on. So he's going for the second lap now then. As King Gears was doing another lap, but he just got a penalty as well and obviously went for the fresh tyres. Yeah, saying it's harder to drive on no fuel. Yeah, but it's a big heavy car, that Merc, though, so sometimes them cars, to be honest, they're actually much more planted with fuel in them. Trudson is well down on his time here, so unless he's made a mistake later in the lap that he knows about, wouldn't be surprised to see him give up on this lap and get some fresh boots on. It's like everyone else at the moment's on outlaps. Comics is doing another lap, but again he's got a penalty now. And JP must have been the one that went right at the back of the pack. As he's just starting his second fast lap. But he's not had a greatest first lap, but as Jack's telling us, this Ford GT is not an easy beast to control. Yeah, JP's livery is always gorgeous, Ray. And there's more than one JP livery on display, obviously. But it's very nice to see him driving his own liveries. Just coming to the second chicane now. qualifying, not really JP's strong point though, to be fair. Normally he's Mr. Consistent in the race, so see if that pays off for him in this one. We see Gecko obviously hasn't put in a good qualifying lap yet. For Comics down in 12th as well, we've seen him do some fast laps in this, so he will obviously be wanting to put in a slightly better lap. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Ray. Obviously you know what you get with JP, he's very, very consistent, and a lot of the time that pays off for him come the end of the race. Nice to have him in this lobby. He's been in lobby 2, which he was again today, but with the lobbies mixing, nice to have JP in there, because JP makes a lot of the liveries. All the RA boys, I believe, are sporting official RA liveries made by JP, so obviously any liveries that you see for the RA guys, then obviously a high chance that JP's made them, so big shout out to him for that. Jack's coming back into the pits again, so maybe had an issue on his lap or just finished his lap, but I didn't see it flash up improved. Yeah, he is the livery wizard, Ray, you're right. But let's see now as he just comes out the Porsche curves. Just got the 4 chicanes to go and see what sort of improvement he can make, because I imagine he'll be improving since we've been on board. It's looked a very clean lap. So let's see where he can go. 56, so that puts him up to 5th place at the moment, and he's going again for another lap. Yes. Anyone that wants to get fresh tyres are going to have to do it soon to be able to make the out lap to get round again. Yeah, it was a very clean lap that from JP there, Ray. Or it was from when we got on board with him anyway. See if anyone else, Gecko's close to crossing the line. Let's see what Gecko can do now. Enough for 4th place for Gecko there. Let's see if he comes in for new tyres while he can. He does. Is there anyone else coming up to the finish line? There's a few, it looks like. But Swoodson is coming up across the line as... oh, we have someone having left the room, unfortunately, there. Let's see what Swoodson can do. Very similar lap to his best lap so far, but he has got tyre wear now, so maybe that bodes well in the race for him. But I would have thought he'd come in for new tyres now. He's done 3 fast laps on those tyres. We've got anyone else? How's Os going on? Os yet to set a time. Maybe it's not showing him having set a time anyway. So let's see what Os can do now. Well, it looks like Blue Racer hasn't set a time either. It looks like Wabbit might be the only one in the BRZ so far to have actually managed to put in a lap. So he said the tyre wear's good on these cars, but they might struggle at this track again for outright pace. But up to 8th there for Os, that's not a bad time. So whereabouts Blue Racer, because it looks like he's not set a time yet either. And Comics has yet to set a time by the looks of this. But Wabbit has. So the Comics and Blue Racer are very close. Is there anyone close to coming to the finish line now? Jack's on an out lap, so he'll just be coming to start his lap. Bush Racing not long started a lap. Gecko's still on his out lap. Let's see if JP's improving again. Yeah, JP is nearly half a second up on his time now. And obviously there's no time for anyone to reset for the pits, but JP may be able to get across the line here. Should do for another lap. Well, good final 2 chicanes and he should have a improved lap here. Very cautious through there, that might have lost him a little bit of time, but he still improves by half a second. So have we got anyone else close to the line? We'll stay on with Pacomics because he needs to get a lap in now, because this is going to be his only lap. And Blue Racer likewise, I think he's a bit further down the track, but he is also on what will be his only lap, so he needs to get a lap in. So unfortunately they might have to take it a bit more cautiously. Let's see what sort of time Pacomics can do here. Good exit out the final chicane there. It's not going to be a bad lap this, and he puts himself up to 4th place. He needed that with his only valid lap, so good going from Pacomics there. JP has retired to the pit, so it looks like we've got three guys who have definitely finished their laps. Looks like we've got Umbar and Blue Racer coming to cross the line on their final laps. Let's see where Blue Racer can put his. Umbar does improve and Blue Racer goes just ahead of him, so they go to 7th and 8th there then. So Os, but I think Os might, as we flicked onto him then, it looks like he might have gone wide, but yeah, there it is, half a second penalty. So that might be Os lap done unless he's been on a really good lap and he can make up for that penalty. I believe Jack and Rush Racing are still out on the track. And Wabbit. So Rush has now finished, so Jack currently has pole. Yeah, so we just have Jack and Wabbit are the last 2 left out on track doing a lap. And Jack is slightly down on his time, but he's already got pole unless Wabbit can snatch it off him. It is a handful there, but that might be a penalty, that, as he's really pushing there. No, he's just stayed within the limits. But he might as well push now, see if he can get a better lap, because he's already got pole place by 3 tenths, it looks like. And he does improve by another 3 tenths. Absolutely smashing lap there from Jack, but he did say he's worried about the race, so we'll see how that Ford GT copes in the race, because when them tyres start to go off on that car it becomes a real handful. But even then Jack looked very on the edge with the car. And then we just have Wabbit now to cross the line. And Wabbit does not improve, unfortunately. So it looks like you are the lead Subaru though, Blue Racer. And yeah, was he just getting penalties? Because I see you only obviously set the one valid lap, so did you just keep getting penalties at the 2 chicanes, or? Ears was on for the 53. That would have pushed him above Gecko, would it, I believe? Yeah, kept getting track limits. It's very easy on them two to get the track limits. And it could be something to watch out for in the race, because you don't really want to be getting the track limits there in the race, and you can obviously you have to serve it on the straight here, don't you? So you lose a lot of time by getting a penalty going through there. Well, just in general on this track, you can lose a lot of time by getting a penalty. So obviously, unfortunately, with that connection issue with Jibble dropping out in the qualifying for whatever reason, Gecko's going to manually set the grid, which luckily we have the ability to do this again now. Yes, it was a disconnect for Jibble, unfortunately, but he is back, so hopefully he doesn't have any issues during the race. And obviously we've got our 2 title contenders, Jack and Rush Racing, starting in the first 2 spots yet again. So we'll see how they get on. You know, 6/10 advantage for Jack in qualifying there, but maybe the BMW be better on the tyres or more consistent throughout the race, won't get as sketchy when the tyres start to go off. But it'll be interesting to see. For those of you that weren't here before, that didn't hear, if Jack wins, then he's guaranteed the championship. If Rush Racing wins, then he's guaranteed the championship. If Rush Racing finishes ahead of Jack, then he's guaranteed the championship. And if Jack finishes 3rd or lower, then Rush Racing will be guaranteed the championship no matter what as well. So, be interesting to see what happens. DTR cheering on Jack as usual there. Yep. We know Jack's got the pace. It's, as I said, in the last round, he had the pace in the car. Just the tyres kept dying on him, and once they did, he was really struggling. You said you were in the McLaren in that though, Blue Racer. Do you think that was a slightly faster car at this track than the BRZ, or do you reckon the BRZ's a slightly faster track? Yes, I come on board with you towards the end of your final lap, and I could see you were really gaining on Mbappe at the end, so I was worried as to whether he was going to hold you up, but it didn't look like he did. It looked like you were still far enough behind that you didn't get held up at all. Yeah, as Ray says, good luck to everybody. Unfortunate to see Austin Wabbit struggling down there, because I said they're possibly in the fight for sort of the top 5 area of the championship, along with Blue Racer and Gecko and King Ears as well. So there's a few in there in that fight, so they will be wanting to try and move up and get involved in that, but maybe they'll try something on the strategy. But for those that don't know, it is a 16 lap race, but it will show 17 laps. The first lap is just a formation lap, or a pace lap, or a sighter lap, or a safety car lap, whatever you want to call it. And then there will be a manual rolling start, which obviously Jack, being the pole man, will dictate the rolling start and when he wants to go. I believe the position that the first car can take control of the pace is slightly later than usual to make sure everybody's through the final chicane, you know, to make it fairer from the start. So here we go now then. Gecko's just starting the final now. Good luck to all those racing. We have lost the cinematic view for whatever reason. There we go, we got it back now though. So as you see, this is just going to be a standard pace lap, formation lap, so might see a bit of warming tyres later on in the lap more so. But as we can see, we have got Jack starting on the hard tyres. So he said the tyre wear struggles, so he's going for the hard tyres. Then we have Rush racing behind him, starting on the medium tyres. So by the sounds of what people have been saying, maybe Jack will try and go to the end on them hard tyres. Maybe Rush will try on the mediums, but maybe Rush will be going for the pit stop. We've seen in the past that Rush racing does like to go flat out where he can and really push, so that might be his strategy in this one. Then we have Kevlaro, who is also on the mediums, in third place. Pacomics in fourth place, also on the mediums. Gecko Racer fifth on the mediums. King Gears mediums. Blue Racer mediums. Umbath mediums. JP mediums. Swoodson on the softs, so Swoodson going for something slightly different. Ost on the softs as well, so Ost going for something slightly different. Wabbit on the softs as well, so these guys at the back are all trying something different by the looks of it. Then we have Jibril on the mediums, and Roses also on the mediums. So it looks like the majority of drivers have chose the mediums, so that's looks like to be the main strategy is mediums, and from what people have said, that might be mediums pit, mediums again, or mediums pit and then softs, possibly, depending on how far they get into the race. Then we have Jack on an alternate strategy from the front of the field, and has he gone on hards to go to the end of the race, or is it just he thinks the tyre wear on that Ford is so bad that he's having to go on to the hards, and then maybe we'll try and pit and maybe have a second stint on mediums possibly, but we'll see. But he might just be going for the no stop and seeing if he's got the pace to hold people off later on. And then we had a couple near the back, didn't we, that had gone on to the softs. Yeah, so this little train here, Swanson, Ost, Wabbit. Yeah, Swanson, Ost and Rabbit, so a little group of three here, all on the soft tyres. So they will be maybe looking to work together and pull each other through the field, but obviously then maybe having to do a slightly different pit stop, like pit stop strategy. As you can see now, it looks like most drivers are warming up the tyres now, obviously with this being a slow lap. It sounds like fuel won't be a problem for the cars getting to the end of the race, so the strategy will all be on the tyres. As we do see, we have got not huge red, but small bits of red showing on everybody's tyres already, especially those that started on the softs. Austin Wabbit obviously being careful on their tyres. So I believe the start procedure for this race will be just after the 4 chicanes. You'll see as they come in along the grid, there is a yellow box on the left at the side of the track. When it comes to like a triangle point at the end, and when it comes to that point at the end, that is when Jack dictates when to take off. So he can either go past that and keep the speed, or he can bolt as soon as he gets to that. That's for him to decide. Being on the hards, I'm imagining he'll possibly try and catch Russ by surprise and just bolt to stay ahead of him. But then obviously he's probably expecting Rush Racing to pass him down the Mulsanne. So as we see now, Jack will now have control of the pace, and he's gone. He has gone straight away. That's what I said I thought he might do. Hey little Nicky, nice to see you. So Jack's held that lead. Rush Racing held second. Her Comics has come through. Late move there, but it looked clean into 3rd place. But it looks like Kevlaro might have got him back, so this is allowing these front two, the championship contenders, to pull away already with 3rd and 4th place fighting, sorry. And there you can see the grip that Rush Racing's got on their mediums compared to Jack's hards. So I imagine Rush Racing is going to go past here, and Jack will probably not fight it, and he'll use Rush Racing to stick with him as long as possible, I imagine. But he might possibly go for the just try and stay in front and slow Rush Racing down, because that Ford GT is lightning quick at the end of the straights. We've seen that before. Yeah, and as you can see, look at the grip difference for Rush Racing there out the corner. You've got so much grip out the corner compared to Jack, and yet Jack is then just starting to pull away. So maybe this is why Jack went onto the hards. Very clever. Maybe he went, well, I know I've got the pace on the straights, and he can try and hold him up through the corners. But Rush Racing here will want to get past Jack as soon as he can. And again, you can just see the grip on corner exit there that Rush Racing has got, as we do have a penalty going off behind. But everyone's still pretty much in a line here. The front two with a bit of a gap, it seems, but everybody else looks fairly close. And again, Rush Racing has got the grip, but it's just, that Ford is just so quick at the top end, he just can't get by. So maybe this is what Jack had in mind all the time, because obviously look at the the group behind that they pulled away from have started to catch up now as Rush Racing does pull out, but he will be on the outside. Can he use the extra grip? He does. Sails around the outside there with the extra grip and gets the inside to the next corner. As Kevlaro also comes through as Jack gets a poor exit, being on the outside of Rush Racing there. So Rush Racing has now already started to pull away as Jack is possibly holding others up here, and we have Gecko having moved up into 3rd place. So on the same car as Rush Racing, so he will be wanting to get past Jack and chase after Rush Racing if he can. A few little clips on the wall by the sounds of it there. Yeah, Jack's really not got the grip on them hard tyres through these parts of the track. But he did manage to hold Rush Racing up for a while, so if he is going for the long game of getting to the end of the race, that might come into play at the very end of it. As Gecko does pull to the inside there to go by, so Gecko up into 2nd place on the exit of the chicanes there then. So Gecko will want to see if he can get, but this is possibly good for Jack because Gecko can now pull him along the straight, and obviously as we said that Ford's so quick in a straight line on its own anyway. And DTR saying that because of it being a GTE car rather than a standard GT3 car. But it does look like Jack has lost the slipstream, but he may be fast enough to pull that back. So let's just check down the field now. We've got Kingy is in 5th place, still hanging on to that sort of top 3 train there, as Gecko's just pulled out of that train with Rush Racing. Pacomic's down to 6th after the very good start he got. Oh, was he as one of the ones that clipped the wall on the Porsche curves, Ray? Or they said I heard a couple of scrapes of cars in the background on the wall at the Porsche curves. As we see a couple of penalties flash up. Blue Racing may be lacking that top end in the BRZ, has dropped back a couple of places there, but he will get a couple back when those penalties are served, as Roses has gained a few but has got a 1 second penalty. Jibble up a few. Ost and Wabbit not making the progress they would want on the soft tyres that they've chosen, so it looks like it could be a struggle for these BRZ guys again this week, as JP has ended up at the back somehow after a very good qualifying from JP, but he is sticking with these 2 guys on the softer tyres in front of him, so we could have a good battle going on there. So Rush Racing now has a 3.5 second gap nearly to Gecko, and Kevlaro is right back in there up behind Gecko, having got past Jack. So maybe they will work together to try and catch Rush Racing if they can. Jack has got a 0.5 second penalty though, so if he's playing a long game that will not be good. Yeah, both pushed through and squeezed him into the wall. Yeah, that's not good. I heard a couple of scrapes on the wall, but concentrating on that front battle with Gecko and Jack at the time, I didn't notice, as Kingy also gets a penalty there by the looks of it. So these penalties really coming into account, as Pacomics is going to gain 2 places due to penalties there, so that's Pacomics back up into 4th place. But again, people won't want to squabble too much here, because you can lose a lot of time squabbling with each other, and obviously with Rush Racing having got out in the lead now, you know, people won't want to be losing too much time. come back. Everybody's still fairly close together, really, in the main pack. So we could have one hell of a fight at the end here with in the middle of the field. As Roses serving his penalty has dropped back to the back. And Oss started to pull a bit of a gap on the three behind him there. So, but he'll be wanting to get back in the slipstream of Jibril if he can. That's Blue Racer in the middle of this train, but was that a move we saw going for? Yeah, Blue Racer's to the inside, but he does sensibly back off as Jibril goes way too deep there. So good idea from Blue Racer to back off there. He's really benefited from that. He could have been caught up in someone else's accident if he hadn't, so good racing from Blue Racer there. So let's move back up the field as King Gears has got another half a second penalty. And he's gonna make that a second now, I imagine. After that, that looked very wide. So let's see now, does that flick up to a second? Yes, it does. So King Gears hurting himself here after a good start where he got pushed into the wall a little bit, but he was still in a good position. Yeah, I bet he is fuming, Ray. You know, doesn't need mistakes like that. And Swoodson is going to come past him as well now. So that's really going to drop King Gears back. Possibly lose 3 places here. Depends how close Ost is behind. Oh no, Umbar's got a penalty, 1.5 seconds now. So Umbar is not going to worry King Gears, but Blue Racer will get him, and Ost will get very close to him, I imagine. Yeah, sometimes you've got to try and stay calm, haven't you, Ray? If something bad happens to you, you get annoyed and then you make other mistakes that you don't need then. But obviously that incident into the wall can be checked at the end of the race. As I said, I heard a few, he can't have been the only one to hit the wall, because I heard a couple of scrapes on the wall by the sounds of it, but unfortunately I didn't see what drivers it was that clipped the wall. It didn't look like anyone majorly hit it, but maybe Kingy has hit it more than most. As Kevlaro has got ahead of Gecko now, but he's got himself a 2.5 penalty. So these penalties are really playing into the game, because I think I saw Jack with another one before. Yes, I did. And then now Kingy is up to a 2.5. Yeah, he'll have to look at the replay at the end of the race, Ray. So things all going wrong for King Gears at the moment here, after a very good qualifying and a very good start to the race by the looks of it as well, to be honest. So just coming up to the penalty line now. So Ost would have been the one to watch as to whether how far back into Ost's clutch King Gears drops. As Jack's going to serve a penalty as well. King Gears serves his penalty. And that's 2 places lost to Swoodson and Blue Racer. And Ost has not managed to close up to him. King Gears must have had a much better middle part of the track there than Ost did, because that gap has remained the same. So as we move back up then, we have Rush Racing now with nearly a 6-second lead over Gecko. But Gecko has dropped Kevlaro out of slipstream, with Kevlaro serving his penalty, and Pacomics and Kevlaro are now fighting for 3rd place. Well, you never know, Ray. You've got to make your decision when you look at the replay. Again, that Supra being a good car to be in, it looks like, for Kevlaro. It's got the patience, it's got the straight line speed, but if he keeps getting these penalties, then it's not going to do him any good. As he goes for the move on Pacomics there, maybe a little bit of contact as Pacomics has to cut the corner there and safely rejoins on. But because of the contact, he probably won't have got a penalty, but a bit of a flash of the lights there. So maybe Pacomics felt there was a bit of a dive from Kevlaro there. Yeah, DTR did look like it could have possibly been a bit late, but it also looked like possibly Pacomics might have turned in when Kevlaro already had the inside. Yeah, I don't think it was a full send, but it was. He did commit to go for it, but it looked like he would have, if Comics hadn't turned in, there would have been space, but obviously without seeing a replay it's hard to make that definite judgment. But Comics got himself a penalty here, so that's not going to help him out. But that little fight has helped Gecko pull away a little bit, but Rush Racing is just extending that gap now. And I believe someone said earlier about a 30-second pit loss. So if Rush Racing pits, obviously if Jack doesn't, there's 15 seconds already made to Jack. So as it stands at the moment, I would say Rush Racing is in the driver's seat for the championship now. But we don't know what Jack will do later on in the race. As someone goes off behind there, who was that? It was King Gears. Oh no, things have really gone downhill for King Gears as he tries to stay out of everybody's way there. So at least it was a good rejoin, at least he stayed out of everyone's way there, King Gears, but things are just going from bad to worse after a really good start for King Gears. And Umbar has dropped all the way to the back again. I don't know whether he's had an incident, but I have seen a lot of penalties for him. So that might just be, again, getting penalties in this race is really not good, but we are seeing a lot of them. It's a easy track to get track limit penalties at on this game. As we see the back three guys have all got a penalty each. And then looks like King Gears has also got a penalty. So JP might possibly be able to pull away with Jibril here as the penalties get served. And Oster's been promoted up into 8th place, mostly by just keeping it clean. Yeah, they can sometimes be not too clear. I don't think they're as inconsistent as people think they are. You know, I sometimes think they are as well, but I do think they're at some places they're very harsh, in other places you can take a load of the track, so it's a bit confusing then as to what points you can use a lot of curb and what points you've got to stay within the white line. They need to just either make it one or the other would make it simpler. Especially the two chicanes on the Mulsanne. They're the ones where people tend to get the penalties, where they can be very close to knowing whether they should have got one or not. As we see that Ost is gaining close to Blue Racer here in the battle to be fastest Subaru in this race. Yeah, the chances are not very high of things changing DTR. As we see, Blue Racer is battling with Jack there, and Jack now nearly 18 seconds off the lead now, so things not going well for Jack, but he said he was worried about the race after his great qualifying. So we know he's got the pace, but he's had to put them hard tyres on because he doesn't trust this car's tyre wear. So, but we never know, something could help later on in the race. As we see another penalty for Comics there. So again, a lot of penalties in this race. Kevlaro is now in a comfortable 3rd place with a bit of a gap to Gecko, but he's definitely gaining on Gecko down the straights, as Rush Racing now has an 8-second lead over Gecko. So Rush Racing, as it stands, is commanding things in this race. Tyres rear left coming close to halfway worn now, but not in the worst condition. Said if they stay like this, it'll, as I said, I think it's going to either be another set of mediums for these guys, and possibly the guys that started on softs going on to mediums, and then there may be a couple of people risk the softs at the end, but might then struggle on the final lap or two, but might be worth taking the risk for them, depending where they are. So looks like Swoodson will obviously inherit 4th place when Percomic serves his penalty, and unfortunately for Jack and Blue Race, Percomics is going to end up very close to him, so hopefully he'll get going quick enough not to slow them down, or they'll be able to get by him. And Austin slightly dropping away again. And then Jibril, after his big mistake, coming back through the field a little bit there. Maybe didn't lose as much time in that mistake as it looked like. And then we've got JP with King Gears right behind him, pushing him along here. And then Rosie's not too far behind that. Looks like King Gears for the moment is happy sitting behind JP. Maybe get a bit of that consistency from JP, because obviously things have not gone well so far for King Gears. Or maybe again it's just that Ford GT, straight line speed. There's just, doesn't matter how good an exit King Gears gets out the corner, there's just nothing he can do about it maybe. Yeah, look, he's right up behind him, but just nowhere to go with it, because if he pulls out of that slipstream, he just can't get by. And then unlikely to try anything now until the start of the next lap, I imagine, as Roses is right back up behind them as well. And then Rabbit unfortunately starting to drop off a bit, as Umbar is also starting to drop off a little bit. So then penalties really counting against Umbar, but his tyre wear's not looking great, as Rabbit's tyre wear's looking at a lot better than Umbar's, and obviously he's on the softer tyres as well. So Rabbit's looking after them tyres well, so maybe that's a Rabbit tactic deliberately. Kingy is not the greatest on tyres, and he's struggling a bit on those tyres, and you can see him starting to slide around now. And again, Osses, you can see that tyre wear advantage that BRZ has, because Austin Wabbit have got better tyres than some of the medium runners. Yeah, and Austin's got better tyres than Jibril as well. But Jibril does look like he has more pace than Ost, so Ost will be hoping that Jibril can maybe pull him up to this battle ahead, because this is one hell of a battle by the looks of it, all the way up to 4th place, as Percomics after that penalty is now going side by side with Swoodson again. Yeah, he's really good on tyres by the looks of it, Ray. It's not just good. They said a lot of the medium runners have got much worse tyres than what those soft runners on the BRZs have got. But this is one hell of a battle at the moment, forming for 4th place. Yeah, but no top end DTR yet. That's why I think Ost will be happy with Jibril in front of him and hope that Jibril can pull him along. I would say, looking at Wabbit's tyres, he can get more than 8 laps on them softs. But they might start to drop off a bit quicker later on as they start to wear. So Jack now in 5th, so you can see the pace Jack's got because he's on, but then again his tyres are going to be better now. Oh, with Swoodson's tyres, Swoodson's going to have to come into the pits on that McLaren. He was another one of the soft starters, but those tyres are well and truly dead now. A tiny bit of, and there it goes, just as I was about to say, tiny bit of white still on that left rear tyre, but that has now gone. So Blue Racer, Jibril, Ost. Oh, as Ost gets a penalty, that's not good for Ost because he's so close to this battle here, and that's going to drop him back into the clutches of King Ears, JP and Roses. as Mr. Consistent JP has got himself a penalty now then. So see, Rabbit tyres are still really good on that car. So we may still start to see some pit stops now then. But I think really you're going to be wanting to go further than this, because you're not quite halfway through yet. Probably not going to want to pit till lap 9, I imagine, for most people, which I'm presuming, looking at Rush Racing, he is on, I would say his tyres are on target to get to lap 9. Yeah, Gecko will be on target to get to lap 9 as well, so they'll probably go back onto mediums. Kevlaro slightly worse off on tyres than the front two, but again should make it to that lap 9 mark. Pacomics, again similar to Kevlaro, should make it to that lap 9 mark, but not going to be as easy as the front two. As we said, as Swudson comes into the pits now then. Yeah, so fuel not an issue, it's just going to be a change of tyres. So we'll keep our eye on to see what tyres he comes out onto then, as Ost ends up in a little bit of no man's land between Blue Racer and King Gears now. Gibral has got by Blue Racer now, but Blue Racer might be able to go to the end of this race even on mediums. Looking at them tyres, Blue Racer might have pulled a great strategy putting mediums on that BRZ, as there's a big slide in front of him from Gibral there. But Blue Racer is going to be very close to a penalty. I think he'll be alright. Yes, and it looks like he is alright. He did keep 2 tyres on that curb. But it'll be interesting to see Blue Racer at the end of this, but obviously he is 26 seconds off the lead at the moment, and obviously we've been told that we're talking roughly a 30-second pit loss. So obviously Rush Racing on fresh tyres will be confident of coming past those guys, but it might put him in the fight with Jack come the end of the race. But again, I think Jack's going to try and go to the end. But obviously the likes of Gibral, Pacomics, Kevlaro, Gecko are all going to have to pit. So maybe Blue Racer can do something at the end of this race if he can make them tyres last. But it'll be interesting to see. As we see another penalty. So Kevlaro has got the pace, but he just keeps picking up penalties because he's got right back up on the back of Gecko now then, but he's gone and got himself another penalty. As Rush Racing now has coming up to a 12-second lead over Gecko. So Rush Racing is in command of this race at the moment, as Pacomics gets himself a 1.5-second penalty. So again, he's another one, Kevlaro, Pacomics. They've got pace here, but they keep picking up these penalties, and it's such a killer at this track to pick up these penalties. What are Jack's tyres? I think Blue Racer might be better tyres than Jack already at the moment. Again, so if Jack's going to go to the end, I don't see any reason why Blue Racer can't go to the end. So that could be an interesting one to look at come the end of the race. We'll keep our eyes on that, as King Gears, Roses and Ost all pick up penalties, but Ost has dropped back there, so things may be gone wrong for Ost now. But JP has really dropped off as well, so maybe he's been struggling after having served that penalty earlier on himself. But these penalties will hopefully drag him a bit closer to those guys in front, as Umbar serves a penalty. And Swoodson put the mediums on, but how dead them softs were, Swoodson could be struggling with tyres at the end of this race again. So we'll see how he goes now then. And Wabbit unfortunately has really dropped back now. But has Wabbit pitted? It looks like Wabbit might have pitted for new softs, which surprises me, because them softs were looking in good condition, but I'm presuming Wabbit will go to the end of the race now on these fresh softs, if that's what he's done. As we see more coming into the pits now, Percomics, Jibril, King, Roses, Ost, JP, all that middle group there that were close together all come in. I think it's one lap early. I think you'd want to go one more like these guys ahead are doing. So again, they could struggle on the final lap, those guys that have all come into the pits now. Because obviously they've done 8 laps on those tyres, but they've done, obviously I know one was a slow lap, so really they've only done 7 fast laps. So they could struggle on tyres at the very last lap of this race. As Rush Racing has a 13-second lead now, so there's no stopping Rush Racing at the moment. He is just keeping pushing on with some great consistency by the looks of them lap times. But obviously them tyres coming towards the end of their life, so he will be in at the end of this lap, I believe. Gecko will also be in at the end of this lap, I believe. As Kevlaro is starting to close up to Gecko again after that penalty, and he will be coming in at the end of this lap again. Presuming all these guys will be going on to mediums again. And then obviously Jack and Blue Racer are the two that possibly can go to the end. Yeah, Blue Racer's front tyres aren't as good, but he's definitely got better rear tyres. But then again, obviously it's the rear tyres where that Ford GT really struggles. But Blue Racer will have to serve a penalty in a minute. But he will want to stay, keep Jack pulling him along. I know he'll know Jack's on worse tyres than him, but he knows how fast Jack is and how fast in a straight line that GT is. So he will be wanting Jack to pull him all the way along during this race, I imagine. And it could end up with a fantastic result for him. Azumbar stayed out for another lap, so he's going to struggle on tyres at the end of this lap, but I think he needed to, otherwise he'd have had a terrible final lap on the next stint. And Percomics put the mediums on. He's got Jibril right behind him and also put the mediums on. Swoodson's obviously back in this fight now as well with pitting earlier, but as I said, he will struggle with tyres at the very end, I imagine. Kingy has went for another set of mediums. Roses another set of mediums, but Os went for another set of softs. So let's see if Os can make use of them soft tyres, even though, and maybe that's just what it is, maybe Ost and Wabbit, that's what they're having to do. They know the car's that slow, they're having to try and use the softs to gain an advantage in the corner to make up. But JP drops back to the back of the field again. But Wabbit and JP have got penalties to serve here, so things are not looking good for those two, unfortunately, at the back. But let's see now, these front guys should all be coming into the pits, I imagine. But no, Rush Racing is staying out another lap. Is Rush Racing going to do what he's done at Barcelona and try and go on to softs? As expected, Gecko comes in, Kevlaro comes in, so that's expected, but the unexpected one there is Rush Racing staying out for one more lap. I can't see it being any more than one more lap. So I'm really shocked from this by Rush Racing. But this is the gap that's interesting, this gap to Jack. But will Jack be able to hold him off when he comes out on fresh mediums? You saw him give it a good go on the fresh hards versus the fresh mediums, but Rush Racing still made a fairly easy pass, but it's going to be very close to see where Rush Racing comes out in compared to Jack. So Rush Racing really should put mediums on when he comes in. because there's no need to take a risk on anything else, because he should theoretically inherit the lead of this race back even after he pits. So as we see Gecko with his fresh mediums and Kevlaro also mediums, which is obviously what we expected from those two. So these two are now chasing down Blue Racer and Jack for the podium spots, as Blue Racer picks up another penalty there. That's not what he wants. Just as he starts to drop out of Jack's slipstream as well. Maybe that's what he was, pushing to get in Jack's slipstream, but he has got it back. So he'll obviously want to be right up behind Jack when he serves that penalty to lose as little time as possible. So we've got Jack and Blue Racer currently second and third, with Gecko fourth, Kevlaro fifth, and they will, on fresh tyres, be chasing those two down. So that'll be interesting to see what Gecko and Kevlaro will do. But great to see Gecko doing well in this race. The last couple of rounds he's made mistakes early on and he's had to fight through the pack, whereas this time he's shown what he can do racing at the front of the field. Not quite got the pace to match Rush Racing, but he's obviously still putting in a great performance here. As Jibril not too far behind Pacomic, so want to close back up into slipstream if he can. And then Swoodson all over the back of King Gears now. Well, King Gears might have just passed him, had he? But Swoodson is going to go for the move back, by the looks of it, maybe. As we see Roses and what I believe was Ost in the background there. As King Gears goes in too deep. Was the contact there though? Swoodson does back off, so I'm presuming he must have hit him. Oh, but unfortunately King Gears gets a penalty, which if there was contact you don't normally get. Because I'm presuming there was contact there just because Swoodson seemed to slow down. And that's allowed Roses and Ost to catch back up, as JP has gone back ahead of Wabbit. But they've both gone back ahead of Umbar when he's pitted. So Umbar's struggling in this one in the Lambo, unfortunately. As Rush Racing does now come into the pits with a 31.5 second lead. So let's just watch Jack now then and see where Rush Racing comes out in comparison to Jack. It's going to be close, but from what's been said he should come out ahead, which if he does, then he's got this race in the bag easy. Yeah, mate, that's what I thought happened, because Swoodson did wait for him. So hopefully when he serves that penalty, Swoodson also waits for him, which, looking at the fact that he's not been overtaken by him yet, makes me think that might be the case. No, Rush Racing has put the softs on like we guessed he might have done. Yeah, it's good to see that, Ray, that he's held back there. But Rush Racing does come out in the lead, but with a ½ second penalty. But he has done the risk again. Rush Racing doesn't half like doing things the difficult way. It's his race to lose again, like in Barcelona. And he's put the softs on instead of putting the mediums on with the safe strategy and just taking the mediums. Because the mediums guarantee him to the end, the softs should get him to the end, but you know, we're not going to be in the greatest condition on that final lap, so he won't be one to make any mistakes. But this will guarantee him fastest lap of the race, I imagine, which he already had anyway. So I presume Rush Racing will just start to pull more and more of a gap here, but it's just whether he makes a mistake at the end of the race on those soft tyres if they get too worn out. But the main battle here now is going to be for second, I believe, as Blue Racer catches a slide very well there. And he's still sticking easily in the slipstream of Jack now, so Blue Racer having a fantastic race here. And again, those front tyres, I believe these two should get to the end of the race, but the rear tyres on that GT, as Jack says, when they go, they really go, so Unfortunately, Jack might struggle at the end of this race. Blue Racer should be okay, but he might lose a bit of front end grip because his tyres are starting to go, but much more even tyre wear on that BRZ, obviously. As Kevlaro has got back ahead of Gecko now. And he's dropped Gecko out of slipstream already as well, but no, Gecko's back in it, so he's just hanging in there. Gecko will be hoping to see Kevlaro pick up more penalties again like he did in the first stint. But these two are obviously closing down this gap to Jack and Blue Racer, which was about 13 seconds, I believe, when they both came out the pits. So they've already got that gap down to around about 8.5 to 9 seconds, but 8 seconds to Blue Racer. So I believe these two should easily catch these two for so this should be a race for second place between Kevlaro and Gecko, I imagine, and Blue Racer and Jack might have to settle for 4th and 5th here. Then we've got Gibble and Percomics picking up another 1 second penalty. So Percomics has really hindered himself with these penalties in this race. I don't know how many times I've said Percomics with a 1 second penalty, Percomics with a 1.5 second penalty, Percomics with half a second penalty. So it's really not helping him as he tries to go around the outside of Gibble even though he's about to serve this penalty. So Gibble goes through there, so he'll be wanting to try and pull away now then. As Roses and King Gears both pick up more penalties as well. Those two as well have picked up a lot of penalties in this race. It's really not helped them at all there. King Gears, after a very good start, has just unfortunately, due to issues not fault of his own, a couple of contacts from other people, plus then a couple of silly penalties he's picked up himself, has obviously dropped himself right down when he could have been well up there in that fight for the top 5, I think. As Osty's now right up behind this group, so this could be an interesting group to watch at the end of the race as well, because they're all picking up a lot of silly penalties, so anything could happen between these 4, I believe, and yeah, the gap to the next 2 should be a bit higher. But Wabbit now then is adrift of this pack, unfortunately, so I don't see Wabbit catching that pack up now. And JP will obviously be wanting to catch Wabbit back up if he can. And then Umbar, unfortunately, a bit of a drift of the pack. Also struggled with penalties in this one. Trophy for the most penalties, yeah, Bad Dog. I mean, I don't know who would get it. There's a few in contention for it, as Rush Racing has extended his lead to 7 seconds now already. But Kevlaro has taken the fastest lap off him at the moment, but I imagine he will get it back on this lap unless he makes a mistake. So Blue Racer still right up behind Jack, so fantastic performance from Blue Racer so far in this race. But Kevlaro now only 4 seconds, so Kevlaro and Gecko, as Gecko picks up a penalty now then. So Gecko could be ruining his fight for second place here, but he should still be on for the podium no matter what. And if we're going off the first stint, Kevlaro picked up a lot of penalties, so Gecko will be wanting that to happen again, and then he can get back in Kevlaro's clutches for the end of the race. So they're the battle for second place, I believe, because I don't think Jack and Blue Racer will have any defence for them when they catch them. I think they'll just have too much grip. The only advantage Jack will have is obviously the power down the straights of that Ford GT, but Kevlaro and Gecko showing a lot of pace in this race, so they're going to struggle to hold them two off. But I think looking at it, they should have 4th and 5th secured, because it looks like Jibril and Comics will be battling with each other a bit too much to maybe gain anything. As we see places changed again, Roses with a penalty, and Swoodson with a penalty, and Kingias with a penalty. So Os now keeping it clean and starting to move through this pack of drivers now, as they all keep picking up penalties. So Os could gain himself a few positions here, as we see a little bit of dust thrown up from Comics there, as he's really pushing to get back on the tail of Jibril. And Gecko serving that penalty. He's lost a lot of time to Kevlaro now then, but Kevlaro is probably the one to watch now. He's coming right up onto this battle for second between Jack and Blue Racer. As I said, see how easy he can get through these two, which I imagine he will, but he's going to pick himself up a penalty there, so that'll help Gecko. Or is he not? Maybe that was lag then, or maybe he really lifted off, but it looked like he went really wide coming out the Porsche curves there. So here he is now, just about to get back into the slipstream, as he does a new fastest lap for him, but Rush Racing obviously went even faster on his lap. So let's see, sensible from Blue Racer there. He knows he ain't going to hold them off, so he's just giving that position. He's going to use him probably to pull him back up to Jack, because he's dropped off Jack a little bit now, Blue Racer. So hopefully he can use the slipstream of Kevlaro now. So can he keep the slipstream coming onto the Mulsanne, because that's what he'll need. And he does manage to keep hold of that slipstream onto the Mulsanne, and Kevlaro's got into Jack's slipstream now. So Blue Racer should get pulled back up towards Jack now then, and Kevlaro, I imagine after the first chicane, will be trying to go for summit. Jack may try and defend more now though. Yeah, Jack, look at that. That's how good Jack is. His rears are gone, and he's typing in the YouTube chat while racing with his rear tyres are gone to tell us that his rear tyres are gone, which we knew he'd start to struggle at the end as yeah, that's Kevlaro easy got him out coming out of that corner, but we know Jack's got the straight line speed here. Yeah, that rear left, and we saw in the last round when that rear left got below a quarter left, it was just a nightmare to drive this car, so Jack's going to struggle. But look at that, how easy he just cruised back past Kevlaro there. But Kevlaro will want to get him back on the exit of this chicane now then, and obviously Jack won't want to make any mistakes. There's Jack's all over the place, there's contact and Jack has gone. I don't quite know what's happened there. That might have to be checked by the stewards after the race. I think Jack might have just lost it on his own. He will probably let us know in the chat, and I think Kevlaro unfortunately then went into the back of him, but that might have helped Jack, to be honest. But Jack, just as he said, his rears are gone. His rears are gone. Yeah, doesn't like the car. Yeah, the car's good and it's fast, but yeah, as soon as the tyre wear starts to go, you can tell by the way you're driving it, Jack, it's becoming a real handful. So I'm presuming that's Jack confirming our suspicions that maybe he just lost the back end with them rears. But he had to try something, and he did. He was going for the championship against Rush Racing, which isn't an easy feat. So he had to try something, and unfortunately for him, it's not worked out. Now we've got a good battle on for second between Kevlaro and Gecko, and Blue Racer is probably just going to try and stick with him as long as he can, because I think Blue Racer should have a 4th place in the bag now then, which will be a fantastic result for Blue Racer. That will be his joint best result of the season, I believe. I believe he finished 4th, if I remember right, in the last round. No, he finished 5th, I think. So this might be a new best position for Blue Racer if his tyres can hold on. But again, his tyres are starting to look worse for wear now. But We do know that that car is much better on tyres than Jack's GTR is, as Jack giving us a nice show in the background there as he really drifted on the exit of the Porsche curves there. I wonder if Jack's just going to come in now to get some new tyres and see how many positions he can regain, and yes, he is, just as we expected. He comes into the pits. I'm presuming he'll put softs on, but he might not be confident enough to put softs on, and he might have to go to the mediums. But I still wouldn't be surprised to see Jack still gain a few places, but we'll see where he comes out, as King Gears is starting to drop off this group now then. And Rosie's with yet another penalty, so maybe Rosie's now is the favourite. Yeah, Jack saying he can't go 4 laps on softs. That's what I was thinking in the GTR, whether he could do it, so that's confirming Jack will be putting the mediums on, I imagine. But still, he will obviously have more pace than what he's had in the first stint of this race. And whereabouts does he come out? He comes out just behind King Gears by the looks of it. So I imagine Jack will get past King Gears, Ost, Roses, Swanson. But yeah, so he might have to accept a 7th place here, Jack. But as we've seen, Gibril and Pacomics are battling a hell of a lot between each other and do keep picking up penalties, so you never know, Jack could gain up to them as Roses goes off unfortunately there, but he manages to stay out of everybody's way. Andy's got a 1-second penalty to serve, so that's good for Jack, because Jack should easily get past, oh, but Jack will probably get past these two before the chicane anyway. Let's look at the speed difference of this Ford GT, look at it fly. There he goes, past both of them. Like they were standing still, nothing they could do about that at all. So Jack will just be wanting to put in qualifying laps now as King Gears goes straight on. And has he been reset? Oh, and he's hit the barrier, trying to go through the barrier. Oh, it's all gone wrong for King Gears now as he takes to the gravel and then gets reset. Oh no. Absolute disaster for King Gears there, and it's all caught on stream as well, just to make it worse. So, really oh no, was he hit by Roses? Roses has slowed down, oh no. Things have gone from good to bad to worse to even worse to absolutely terrible for King Gears in this race. He's just not had the luck in this championship at all. He's had a few races like this where things just haven't gone well for him. So, good sportsmanship from Roses for slowing down there though, if he did hit the back of King Gears. But unfortunate for King Gears' race there. But great news for Ost as Jack picks up a half-a-second penalty, but he should cruise past Ost easily here. So hopefully Ost can maybe try and stick with Jack for as long as he can, see if he can get pulled up to Swoodson, but we think Swoodson might struggle on tyres at the end of this race. It'll be interesting to see, so Ost could still get a P8 here, as Pacomics and Gibril still battling away as Pacomics serves a penalty there. So I think Jack's still got a potential to catch these two with the way these two are battling, and the battling could get worse and worse between them as the laps go on. Blue Racer now though is in a bit of no man's land, so he'll be hoping he can just keep these tyres to the end of the race, but it's going to be close if he can. He should hopefully have 4th place, because the two battling behind are going to struggle to catch with the way they're battling. But it'll be interesting to see. But it does look like Blue Racer now is starting to struggle on those tyres. His laps are not as clean as they were before. He's sliding a little bit all over the place, so 3 laps to go on those tyres. Fingers crossed for Blue Racer that these tyres will hold on now, as Gecko is right back up to Kevlaro, so this is the battle we're going to want to see at the very end of the race, because anyone could take 2nd place here. Obviously we'd like to see Gecko bring home the 2nd place, but Kevlar has shown some real pace in this, so obviously he might be able to get it. Gecko's tyres are slightly better than Kevlaro's, so that might be an advantage come the final lap, as Rush Racing now has an easy 21-second lead. And let's see how his tyres are. Yeah, 21 seconds, but look at that rear left. But technically 30-second pit loss, the pace that he's doing, to be honest, he could probably pit and put another set of softs on and still win this race. But I don't see it's worth the risk. You know, I imagine he's going to just run this to the end of the race now. But he is going to have to be a bit careful on those tyres for the last few laps. But we've seen it before from Rush Racing. He likes to give us a show at the end of the race, so he may well go and pit again and put another set of softs on and absolutely fly. You know, we've seen this happen before, as Gecko and Kevlaro switch positions now then. But there's Kevlaro answering straight back. Again, that Supra's just so good in the straight line. But these two now know that pretty much, I mean, they could be battling for first if Rush Racing pits again, but they're pretty much battling for second, so they're going to battle as Kevlaro goes deep into that corner after overtaking Gecko. So Gecko gets that position back now then. So a fantastic little bit of racing between these two for second place. As we'll see what Rush Racing does in a minute, because I think if he's gonna pit again, you're gonna do it now. Once you go past the pits on this lap, it ain't worth coming in, I don't think. So if he's gonna come in, he's gonna come in now. But the pace he's showing, he's got the pace to come in, put softs on again and get past these two. But again, same as at Barcelona, it's a risky strategy that Rush Racing's gone for. If he had just put mediums on, he could have easily just cruised away with this race. But he likes to give us a bit of excitement, and part of me is kind of hoping that he does come in the pits on this lap. So let's go to him now and see what he does. No, he stays out, so I think but looking at them tyres, I don't know if he'll make it, but if he stays out now, I don't see the point in coming in. If you're going to stay out now, you might as well stay out to the end of the race. As he does another purple lap. So even though those tyres are worn, he's still absolutely flying in them. It's not affecting his pace at all. Obviously the less fuel is, you know, obviously helping out with that. And Gecko currently still in second. Let's just jump down the field a little bit now, as Blue Racer, oh, that time's really coming down now. His tyres, he's really struggling. So hopefully for Blue Racer's sake, Jibril and Percomics can't get him, but Jibril and Percomics are really closing that gap on Blue Racer now with 2 laps left to go. Jack has now got past everybody that he needs to get by and in clear air in that 7th position to chase after Percomics and Jibril, but 2 laps is not going to be enough for Jack, unfortunately, I don't think. Even though, look at that lap time from Jack. I know it was old softs from Rush Racing, but look, matching that softs time on them mediums. So he is flying now, Jack. So maybe Jack can still catch them two. You never know what could happen between these two, as Percomics picks up yet another penalty. These two have been battling all race long and they've both been picking up penalties. If we just check on Ost. Yeah, Ost is sort of on his own now in 9th place. So what? But Swoodson's tyres are in a really bad state. So could Ost get Swoodson? You never know what could happen at the end of this race. Rabbit looks like he should have a 10th place here. Yeah, JP's tyres don't look good enough to try and close that gap over the final 2 laps. Unbar up to 12, so has something else happened between Roses and King Gears now then? Because Roses and, or if they've both pitted again for softs, haven't they? The race has gone horrible for them and they've both gone and pitted for softs again. So, unfortunate end to the race for these two. Did he just decide to pit because of where they were, Ray, or were his tyres gone, or? Yeah, he knew his race was finished because of everything that had happened. He was going to quit. Well, good to see him carrying on. Nice to see him get to the end of the race. Obviously, I'm guessing this will be his dropped race, which he probably will. But obviously, he had a chance to try and gain a couple of positions in the championship. Like where he was early on, he could have jumped above Wabbit, but Wabbit should finish. Well, will finish ahead of him in the championship now by at least 1 point. So it's unfortunate for King Gears. Let's move back up now. So something's happened to Jack now then, because Swoodson's got back past Jack. So I wonder what's happened to Jack there, whether he got a big penalty, but it looked like he'd pulled away from Swoodson's, or whether he was just pushing that hard that he's made a mistake. But Jack should get a 7th place. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Swoodson's tyres, because look at that, Swoodson's going to have no tyres for this final lap, so we'll see how Ost does. But Osty's going to be struggling. No, Ost should be alright for the final lap on tyres. Gibble has now managed to gap Percomics, and Percomics going to have no tyres for this. I said earlier on, a lot of these guys seem to pit for tyres 1 lap too early, and it's looking like to be the case. King Gears and Roses have both come back in the pits again. Percomics tyres are dead. Swoodson had to pit early because of being on the softs, and his tyres are now dead. Ost, I believe, pitted 1 lap early, but obviously he's in a car with very good tyre wear, so that's not an issue for him. Jibril again, he's going to struggle with tyres on this final lap. Again, I think he pitted 1 lap too early. Blue Race with a half a second penalty and a bunny hop here. Oh, and now a second penalty. So half a second penalty for bunny hopping, it seems. But Jibril and Percomics are still fighting, even though Percomics has got a penalty. Now 1.5 seconds. So but Blue Racers, yes, 6 second lead. Blue Racers should have this 4th place now. So let's watch. Yeah, Mush Racing has stayed out, but look at that, he's got no tyres. I said that. I said he should have gone on to mediums. He wasn't going to have tyres at the end of this race, but he's got that much of a lead. As long as he doesn't bin it, it won't be an issue. As long as he doesn't crash, he will get to the end of this race. But I'm very surprised that Rush Racing put the softs on, as I said earlier on. And Kevlaro gets a penalty. 1 second, bad time to get a 1 second penalty on the final lap. Gecko now will just want to keep it clean, stick with him, keep it clean, get by him when he serves that 1 second penalty, and try and defend him off for the last part of the track to take home a 2nd place, which will be a fantastic result for Gecko, and it will be his best result of the championship, I believe. Yes, I believe he's only finished 4th, so this will also be his first podium, so hopefully Gecko can get a 2nd place here. And that might move Gecko up in the championship if he can. No, because Jack's... No, that might get Gecko. That's going to be very close between Gecko. If Gecko can get 2nd place here, which he has already gone for the move before the penalty zone, That's really going to help Gecko making that move before the penalty zone. That's going to give him that little bit extra, but Kevlaro is obviously going to go for it again because he needs to slow Gecko down for while he serves that penalty. So now Gecko should pass him as he serves that penalty, but Kevlaro has got the faster straight line car. He's pulling back into that slipstream. Can Gecko pull away? Not long left to go now. But yeah, I believe in the championship it's going to be very close between Gecko and Jack now for third place. So Gecko, if he can hold on to this second place, might have just scraped himself a third place in the championship, which will be fantastic from Gecko. And I believe with where Jack is now that Distinct Crimson should hold second place in the championship, and obviously Rush Racing crosses the line in first, and he's gonna win the championship with that result. Fantastic, led all the way, no doubt about it at all from Rush Racing there, as Gecko takes home second place. Kevlaro must have ran out of fuel. He did. Kevlaro ran out of fuel but still holds on to third place. Absolutely fantastic drive from Blue Racer here, with no tyres at the end of the race, no stop, the only one to do a no stopper, and he gets fourth place. Gibril with a fifth, Percomics with sixth, Jack's recovering to a seventh after them unfortunate issues, but going to cross the line with a 1 second penalty, 1.5 second penalty. So a seventh place for Jack there, unfortunately struggled with that car. Swoodson, is he going to hold on? He nearly lost it just before the line there, but he does hold on to that 8th place with no tyres, as Os comes home in 9th. Wabbit going to take a 10th place here. Oh, Blue Racer just saying, Alonso quote there, GP2 engine, yeah, but the tyre wear worked for you there, Blue Racer. You couldn't have done that in any other car all the way to the end on mediums. As Rabbit crosses the line 10th, JP 11th. Rose is closing in on Umbar here, but Umbar should hold on. Unless he makes a mistake now at the very end, he should hold on to 12th place. Yeah, Umbar takes 12th place now then, as Roses crosses the line in 13th, and King Ears, after a good start to the race, things just really fell apart for him, and he's bringing it home. Well done to King Ears for getting to the end of the race there, because things did not go his way at all there. Yeah, Blue Racer struggling with fuel rather than tyres, yeah. Because obviously you're going that fast behind the GT, and yeah, no chance of pulling out at all. That GT is just lightning quick in the straight lines. The only place Jack was getting overtook really was on the exit of the chicanes, and even then sometimes he got cars back before the next chicane, so it wasn't easy to get past him, unfortunately. But to be honest, I think it possibly helped you being behind him. But that's a fantastic 4th place for you there, Blue Racer. But fantastic result for everyone. And as I said, I believe that'll be Rush Racing winning the championship. Crimson should be getting 2nd place now, I believe, with a very close 3rd place between Gecko and Jack. So I'm not quite sure who will have took 3rd place. You'll have to wait to see the results once the results have all been compiled for the championship. But fantastic racing from everyone there. Unfortunate for Jack, he had to try something different, with obviously knowing his car was really poor on tyre wear. Rush Racing made it difficult for himself yet again by going onto the softs again instead of the mediums. Kevlar picking up a lot of penalties and then running out of fuel, you know, but give Gecko a race all the way to the finish. Great 2nd place from Gecko. 4th place from Blue Racer doing a no stop, fantastic drive. JP did a good job with all the liveries as well as his driving. Ost being the more consistent of that middle group, it seemed, to gain a good result as well. And then unfortunately, and Pacomics and Jibril had a very good battle between each other all race long. And then unfortunately, Kingy is a race to forget. Oh, and it looks like JP might have been struggling with the backwards glitch, so maybe that's why he kept ending up at the back of the field. So that's unfortunate for JP, so even better result from him if that's the case. But as everyone leaves the room now, we're going to let you go. So thanks for joining us and watching the final of this race. Obviously exhibition series, so get ready for an announcement of an official season, because I think tests have all gone very well here, so an official season should be just round the corner. So we would like to see as many of you get involved as possible, so we can have some more fantastic racing. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.